guys. So we've got, this is our 11th podcast. We've got Tabitha and Sebastian. They are both financial educators. We wanted to bring them on, get their input. They got a unique perspective. I met Tabitha at a networking event. It was pouring down rain on a rooftop at the M Lounge in Orlando. And that was a nightmarish networking event, but I met a good person. And so Tabitha, you're a financial educator. Do you want to talk about your company and what it is you guys do?
Sure. So first off, the company is basically our front line is world system builders, and what we do is we go out and we talk to families and explain to them that we offer education on the financial literacy campaign, which is to reach 30 million families by 2030, is our ultimate goal throughout the United States and Canada.
Cool.
So it's a very big goal, but we've already reached about 2 million families at this point. And we think we can do more, and we need to do
Awesome.
more. It's a big thing in our country, being that our country is considered one of the wealthiest countries in the world, yet we're all struggling financially to pay our bills and stay away from debt. But debt has become basically a way of life in the United States. And we want to change that. And by doing that, we have to be able to reach out to as many families as possible and change their mindsets and their habits. That's basically what we're gearing more towards at this point.
Cool. I see your pin there. I love your pin. It says National Financial Literacy Campaign. Awesome. I love that pin. So you guys basically educate. Who's your ideal person to help? Who are we talking about? The mega wealthy? Or are we talking about everyday working class people? Who's your typical client?
Our typical client is just the everyday working class person, average people who are, pedal pushing to pay their bills and not having anything left over to save. That's our
Okay.
main goal.
Okay, awesome. And Sebastian does the same stuff as you. You guys work together hand in hand. He's also a financial educator. My biggest question. So you guys don't represent Jeff Bezos, is that it? You don't help. You don't teach Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what we were talking a little bit earlier, and you guys offer a free training education seminar. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the workshops that we offer are online. We provide 6 different workshops, and they're all kind of spread out throughout the week. And it's Monday through Friday. Eastern time is 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. And we do it twice a day. So it's
Wow.
anywhere between helping people understand how to break down their debt, so debt consolidation. We also provide estate planning and wills. And we basically explain in other workshops on how those are beneficial and why they're important to have. We also do policies, life insurance policies, annuities, IRAs. We have workshops that explain the differences between what they offer and the fact that you don't have to pass away in order to actually utilize your policies. There's other options available.
So you're talking about like actual cash value in the life insurance policy? Is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about, or? I
Yep.
just found out about that. I just found out that cash continues to grow in whole life policy.
Yes.
That was pretty cool. It's like an interest-free loan, and you pay it back when you want. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Term life, you don't get that, right? Term life, you just get for X number of years a life insurance policy. So if I got little kids and I want to make sure they're provided for in case I die while they're still little, I could get like a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year policy to make sure they're out the door or something like that, right?
Yes. That's
Cool.
I tend to explain to people in detail as to the difference between a term and an index universal life insurance policy. Term is renting, index universal life is owning. That's the
Oh,
difference.
never thought of that. Okay.
Cool. You made it simple for a caveman like myself, you know? Yeah, cool, awesome. I think it's great work what you guys are doing, educating people. A lot of times I have staff in my office who, they're usually like, they just come on board and they're like, Abe, I don't know what to do. I have this problem, that problem, and I try to educate them about some of the financial stuff, but it's hard because they don't teach this stuff in schools, right?
That's correct.
Um, so I don't know why they don't teach it in schools. They teach math like advanced algebra, but they don't teach you how to, figure out your monthly budget.
Nope.
Um, so do you guys have courses like that where you help people figure out a monthly budget based on their current wages, etc.?
We
So
do.
there's something that we actually do. It's called a PFS. It stands for Personal Financial Strategy.
Oh,
So
hell yeah. Okay.
everybody's the PFS, the abbreviation stands for Personal Financial Strategy, but everybody's PFS is technically different, right? Everybody's in a different tax bracket. So what we do is we try to maximize and distinguish what is your profits, and we try to net what is your losses, and then that's how we distinguish, okay, if we're going to match you with a term life, are we going to match you with a IUL, that stands for universal life policy, are we going to pitch you a $5 million policy, are we going to pitch you a 500K, 200K, 1 million policy. So what we do is we bracket out, and we have this form, and we say, okay, well, how much you're paying for mortgage, how much you're paying for car insurance, how much you're paying for your card note, how much are you paying for rent, how much are you paying for groceries, and etc. Or miscellaneous things. And so once we bracket that down, we add everything up. And if whatever you're paying is more than whatever you're profiting, or whatever how much you're making, that's how we distinguish, okay, well, we got to go in different areas on how to help this individual or this family, or we use that and say, okay, you have all this asset left. Let me show you how to liquidate that and leverage that, and show you how to use that into cash value ownership. So it's a unique thing that we have.
That's pretty cool. I like that form. Let me ask you a question. What do you do in a situation where somebody every month is short $200? What do you guys tell them as far as advice goes? Is it hey, you're spending too much money on this, you don't need to have the Verizon Ultra package or Comcast Ultra package, Red Zone and all that stuff? Do you tell people like, hey, look, you need to get a second job? What do you tell people in that situation? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are not just paycheck to paycheck, but they're behind a paycheck too.
Well, essentially what we would do is we don't want to consider ourselves as like accountants or anybody like that. We just try to give advice, so we maximize what they have at hand. So for instance, if somebody's in your scenario, if somebody is well over their budget and they're huge spenders and not savers, or they don't have like any 401k Roth IRAs or any trust funds, mutual funds and stuff like that, in that instance, what we would do is we would still try to maximize what they have at hand, whether that be just a term policy or whether that just be maybe like 100K IUL with a low monthly rate or of some sort. We always want to be able to have them in a know, because there's no maximum of how many policies you can have, right? So you can have multiple policies as much as possible. The thing is that we just want to engage and educate the general public themselves on at least getting protected, because next minute isn't promised, right? Tomorrow isn't promised. So that's basically like a step that we would take.
Okay, so do you guys sell a lot of life insurance policies? Is that predominantly what you do? Like while you're educating people, is that a lot of what you do? Is sell different life insurance policies, or is it just a variety of products that you guys sell?
Well, we have a variety of products that we offer: annuities, Roth IRAs, IRAs, like final expense policies as well. So
What's
when
that?
a final expense is your basically you're paying into protecting, or not protecting, sorry, providing yourself with a certain amount of funds to pay towards your funeral costs and burial. So say you were to pass away in another country, they would actually bring your body back, and that's all part of the whole. It's a concierge service that you're getting.
They could leave me where I die.
I recently looked into. Unfortunately, I had a friend who had a wife pass away early, and it's really expensive to die in this country. It's insane. They wanted $20,000, $30,000, and it's like, what? What are you gonna do if I say no? I mean, so I looked at my wife and I told her, look, you just cremate me, bury me in the backyard. I don't want anything to do with this system. It is bullshit what they charge you to die. And I understand, they got to figure it out, but it's like it's
Yes.
expensive. So there's insurance for that.
Yeah, actually, I have a brochure here. It
Oh,
shows Everest is the one of the companies that we work with, the main company we work with for final expense. So they
okay.
will go
That's a
over.
nice way of saying insurance for when you die.
It is. I mean, it covers all your funeral costs. It covers your burial. You pay like a certain amount to get, maybe say you want like $20,000, $30,000 in coverage for your final expense to pay out, and you only spend 10,000 of it, then whatever's left over actually goes to your family. So it's like
Oh,
an
that's nice.
additional, cash flow that somebody's going to get and benefit from. But on the end, it's a cheaper way to get something to pay towards your funerals, and having somebody actually plan it out with you. You give them like all the information as to what you want to do and how you want your funeral or your cremation, whatever it is, to be prepared. They will do it all for you, and they will get you the best prices because they know exactly where to go. On top of that, your family does not have to worry about being the one planning it all out. So when you pass, all they have to do is just worry about grieving over the loss of you, not having to call and
Yeah.
contact people and spend money and do a GoFundMe. I see
Oh man, it
GoFundMe
was
all the time. It's sad.
yeah, it was tough for my friend. And then at the same time, I'm talking to him like, you need $20,000 or $30,000 while he's going through all of this stuff, feelings, emotions, stuff like that. And to talk about money during that time was really,
It's the last
tough for
thing I
me.
want to talk about.
Last thing you want to talk about. Yeah. So that's interesting. I didn't know they sold insurance for that. So interesting. Yeah. Very cool. So let me think for a second. You had mentioned the death, the funeral expenses. Okay, there was something I wanted to bring up. I don't. It must have been. It's gonna come back to me. Don't worry. So you guys sell life insurance. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about 401ks, IRAs, all that stuff. We offer that at our office. We're a law office. We offer it to our employees. Like 20% take advantage of it. It drives me crazy because I have like a 3% match. I didn't know what a 3% match was. It's a lot of money. We have almost 100 employees here, and it's a lot of money, 3%. And I'm like, I agreed to that, but I guess it is what it is. What's your advice for employees who have the ability to take advantage of an IRA or a Roth or whatever, 401k? What's your advice for that?
Well, 401ks we don't do, but we do convert them. We roll them over
Okay.
into IRAs, Roth IRAs, and annuities. Um,
Okay.
the benefits of having those versus a 401k are the percentage of interest that you get with these types of vehicles. You're going to have a much faster rate of growth because the
Okay.
interests are higher. And then when you reach a certain, you're still going to have those fees like a 401k if you pull out. But as far as the taxes go, you're not going to be taxed when you pull out. So
Okay.
Roth IRAs, 401ks tend to tax a very hefty amount when you do pull out, no matter what age. And then if you pull out
Right.
before,
Was it like 50% you get taxed on?
like 40%, but
40. Okay.
that's like half of what everything has been matched up to on your 401ks. So that's,
Okay.
it's a lot. We talk about, one of the things we do mainly talk about in our company is the rule of 72 and compound interest. So rule of 72 was actually created by Albert Einstein, and a lot of people don't know what that is. It is basically the amount of return you're going to get out of interest in a time period to where your money doubles. So it could be anywhere from, say you have divide 72 by 8%. So you're going to see your money double probably every 12 years versus if you have it in a bank account, you're looking at like 0.05%, maybe 1%. So then your money doubles every 72 years. So we're trying to explain to people to just basically take that money out of one pocket and place it into the other. That's going to create more growth at a faster rate so that you actually have something building, just like a credit card. Credit cards have high compound interest and they make a ton of money off of people.
Yeah.
And so we're just using that same, plateau, but making it to where people are actually making money off of their own money versus the banks and credit card companies.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you just reminded me, I used to be a bill collector back in the day. When I was 18 years old, it was the only job I could get over the summer. So I worked 2 jobs. My first job was at Jamba Juice, making like $6.50 an hour. And my second job that I worked at nights was as a bill collector. And I remember calling people. This was in 2002, 2003, stuff like that. And I would tell people, listen, you owe $30 a month. They were charging something like 30-40% interest back then, and they would charge a late fee of $35 and an overcharge fee of $35, and they only gave out $500 credit limits. So everybody was over the limit, and then they counted the late fees and the overdraft fees onto the balance. It wasn't 2 balances, it was 1 balance, so they could never get under the limit. So basically I was calling them saying, hey, you need to give me $35 a month to get your account straight, but we're still going to charge you an over the limit fee, and we're still going to charge you a late fee if you're late again, and oh, by the way, it's going up 30-40% every month, or well, I guess the APR, so it's per year. Do you guys educate people about the dangers of living off of your credit cards? Is that something that you guys do?
Very much so. One of the top things we do talk about is that a lot of people misconstrue credit cards as their emergency fund. That's what they look to, is like, okay, I have my credit cards lined up, so I've got this much, funds sitting on these cards in case something happens. So that's the first thing they go to, but then they don't have the means to actually pay it back, and then they end up in so much debt that they don't know how to get out of it. So we're trying to steer them in the direction as far as like, you need to have an emergency fund created on top of, having credit. Credit is great because you need it in order to, buy and purchase certain things, obviously. But don't let it be your crutch. So we're basically just veering them in another direction and helping them understand, the laws of credit card and how, you have to play with it the right way.
Really serious question here, Tabitha. Maybe Sebastian wants to answer this. I don't know. Let's say that you go out for lunch and you meet a guy and he's good looking, he's a little bit short, but he's got a private plane and a Rolls Royce, and he tells you that he needs you to use the credit card for $40,000 because he's got enemies after him. Did you guys watch The Tinder Swindler? On Netflix, The Tinder Swindler is about a guy who meets these girls and convinces them that he's the son of a billionaire. He dates them for about 30 days. He takes them out on his private plane. He picks them up in the Rolls Royce. Hey, I'm in town this weekend. I'm in town that weekend. He's texting them, I love you, baby. And then about 30 days in, he starts texting them, I need you to get me $40,000 in credit card access because, people are tracking my credit cards and they're threatening me and my life and this and that, and I'm good for it. I'll pay you extra money. You guys gonna watch this, Sebastian? What? You guys are killing me here, man. The Tinder Swindler. Do you guys have Netflix? The thing's amazing.
I gotta watch that. I think it popped up on one of my.
It's a phenomenal story, dude. This guy did this to multiple women, and the crazy thing is he's short. I don't I guess when you're short, you gotta just like lie to them about being a billionaire. I don't know, man. I have no clue, but I'm like, this is crazy. That one of the women's goes, he's very nice and all that, but he was too short for me. But, he was a son of a billionaire. So, yeah, I went home with him. And, dude, first date, he takes a girl out on a private plane to another country. And 5-star everything, everything on the menu they ordered. And that was money that he used from a prior girlfriend. And he just keeps doing this every 30 days. He's got multiple girlfriends. And he's just traveling the world off of their credit cards. And he comes up with these stories. You guys, wow. Well, if you guys come across anybody,
I definitely got to watch that for sure.
Yeah, this one chick went $250K into debt with for the guy who she just met 30 days earlier. It's crazy. Yeah.
It sounds like a glorified gigolo.
I know. He was like a gigolo. I was like, man, and it was a crazy story. It happened with Norwegian girls. I don't know. He's got a thing for Norwegian girls. I'm not sure. But yeah, check that out tonight. It's gonna be you won't take a break. You're gonna be like, what? This guy, the Tinder swindler. Cool. So you guys must have been like, what kind of drugs? This is taking an odd turn. So cool. So let me ask you a question. People who are living off of their credit cards, is there a single piece of advice or solution that you guys can give them to get out of that groove?
Absolutely. So speaking to somebody that actually works hand in hand with people with their credit and stuff, as you know, there's a rule of thumb. You only want to use about 30% of utilization, unless obviously you're a business owner, then the stipulations on that are a little bit different. You have a higher max or say so. But to me, when I see individuals like that and we try to help them and whatever, I tell them, well, instead of using all this money and using your credit card and using it as an avenue of emergency funds, quote unquote, why don't you just open up a term policy, or open up like an annuity, or open up a compound index, kind of like what Tabitha was saying. That way, after X amount of years, you'll continue to have that residual income. And that's one of the important things that we try to provide in our universal life. We have two brackets. It brackets out in two categories. We show you guys your cash value after X amount of years, and then what you can take out. You can only take 90% off of that, obviously. But we show you the ability for you to take that cash value out and still, on the opposite category, have your policy set in stone there for you. Whereas, for instance, let's say for an individual that is 19 years old, right? By the time at their age of 40, their money on their cash value category is already doubled, tripled, and sometimes quadrupled. And they say, hey, you know what? I want to pull this out. Let me go ahead and leverage this on real estate, or let me go ahead and buy a boat, or whatever their desires and dreams are, or let me just go ahead and retire early. That's the luxury, and that's the convenience that we provide and stuff like that. It is the uniqueness of different things that you can do with that.
So you kind of get people to start spending their money smartly instead of going out and buying a new dress or a new pair of shoes, or whatever the latest video game system. You say, hey, why don't you guys get an annuity? It's $30 a month, and in 20 years, 10 years, it's going to be double, triple, quadruple what you guys put in, something like that. You guys kind of divert people away from blowing money on silly things. Okay, cool. Because I think that's important. A lot of people don't they're just living in the moment, and they see something. It's an emotional purchase. They spend it, and you guys are offering them an opportunity to change their mindset, right? About having cash flow, saving up now so that they have cash flow in the future, which is great. Cool. So who is what else do we want to talk about? What's your number one course that people take on your platform to get educated about finances? Do you guys have info on that?
Well, the platform, as far as like what people look more towards, is just more so on how it's going to benefit them in the situation they're in. So if their situation is, okay, I have a lot of debt. So how am I going to break that down? How am I going to get myself out of debt? And we'll show them, it's a role pay. It's called role pay. So you roll in what you have, like your lowest debt that you're paying towards. You start with that one. And then once you get that one paid off, then take what you've been paying towards your lowest debt and bind it into your next one. So the one that's above that. So say you have like a a Macy's card and you're paying $50 and you owe 200. So then you're going to pay off that one. And then you're going to take that $50 that you're paying. Once it's paid off in that like 2 months, you're going to roll it into that $50 into the next debt that you have. So say it's like
Okay.
your car payment. You owe, however much, and you just keep going until you get to the part where you have your largest debt, which is usually mortgage. And you're like, okay, well, now I just broke down my debts where I was going to have to pay like for the next 35 years. That's the length of time it was going to take to pay everything off, including my mortgage. Whereas now I've got it to the point where I just cut it in half. So that's one thing that we try to show people how to do. Then like with what Sebi was saying with the PFS, that's basically where we start, is we want to see everything. It's like going to the doctors. You're going to sit down and you're going to do a full workup of everything as far as their costs, their debts, their assets, their income, and figure out where we need to start breaking things down and helping show them that, you've got all this, but you have no protection. So then we go into the protection and we explain to them and educate them on how the importance of having it is. That's your foundation. If you're working your whole life making money and you have bills to pay and you have things going on, you get sick, boom, your whole emergency fund gone. Your debts are going to build back up. But if you have that protection, that's your foundation that's going to keep all of those things afloat because you did that. Now your protection is going to protect you from going into debt, protect you from losing your house. And if you say a small business owner is going to protect your business as well, because those funds from that protection is going to pay for those things. And then so those are a lot of the other things that we try to explain to people, the importance of having that first.
Is that the ice cream truck in the background? What is that?
Oh, that's my clock. My grandfather.
I was like, oh my gosh, is there an ice cream truck in the neighborhood? It made me, I grew up in Miami. They had the churro truck.
I would love to have one
I don't
of
know if you guys
those.
know churros, but they had that flying through the neighborhood back in the day, making me hungry over here. Cool. Actually, March 5th, 305 day, March 5th, 305, 305 day. We're going to go down and do some filming down in Miami. We got an office down there. So cool.
Down there again.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what is the biggest expense people are spending money on that you look at them and you tell them, come on, dude, what the hell are you doing here? Why are you wasting money on this? You're broke. Why are you spending money on this? Do you guys know?
The most expensive thing?
Like the biggest waste of money you find that your customers are spending that you're like you shake your head, you're like, is this why are you doing this here? And
I think for me, doing BFS it's more so not like mortgages or homes or car notes and stuff. It's more so of like the personal things, right? Like going out every week and spending over $1,000, or just buying designer and everything, knowing that
all these women want the red bottoms, right?
Ratio is just out of sorts, or also sometimes groceries and things like that. So I think it's just like the miscellaneous things, like the personal aspect of things. Whereas you'll be amazed, people will prioritize those often more than what needs to be prioritized.
Their security, right? They prioritize. I mean, obviously, groceries are groceries. People need
groceries, but there's certain personal items
like clothing. You don't need the Gucci belt. You need to have a disability policy or some kind of retirement policy in place. So, okay, awesome. I think I stumped Tabitha. She was like, "Wait, what?"
I mean, there's so many different things, but like Sebi said, it really does come down to it. You spend little bit here and there constantly, it builds up, and
it adds up.
Things like, I mean, a couple years ago, my oldest son, he's 8 years old, and in 2000, so he was born in 2013, and from like
that was when my son was born. What's that?
He's 8 years old too. He was born in August, baby.
He is a Thanksgiving baby.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
So they're only a couple months apart.
Yeah.
Just from that time frame to currently now, the amount of parties, the celebrations that have been created, you have gender reveal parties, you've got, your bridal shower, what is it? The
Baby showers.
baby showers.
Yeah.
Those have always been around, but the gender reveal party, like, I think that's a little much. And then you just birthday parties in general, like after a certain age, you just stop celebrating birthday parties in a big extravagant way. You have a few as you get older, but like the amount of money that people spend just to celebrate a party that isn't really necessary could be going towards other things. And then you have people spending money on presents that kids most of the time don't even use. Like they're happy nowadays with the technology. Cell phone, iPad, that's pretty much all they want, and maybe video games.
Yeah.
At least that's my kids. So the amount of money that just goes into all of those things could be actually going into policies for their kids. They could be
For their
taking
future.
Yes, exactly. And that's going to be well worth it, more so than, some riding little bike that's sitting in the corner collecting dust for the next couple
There
of
you
years.
go.
Now you sound like me when I talk to my wife. She's like, babe, we have 10 bikes in the garage. She's like,
Yes.
oh, well, they outgrew it. I'm like, okay, but do they need 10 bikes? Like I had one bike till I was 10.
Exactly.
I swear to God. I had like one bike. I had like 3 toys. My kid has a room full of toys. It's crazy. So I like that. A lot of people, you're right. And then those birthday parties. My God, I hate it when my son goes to a birthday party because we got to go to Walmart or Target first, pick up a toy for another freaking kid. There's like 30 toys at every birthday party. And then on top of that, they get a toy here and there when they're behaving. We got to go back to the old days, man, when you had like a couple toys and that was it. These damn Lego. We talk about Legos for an hour. My God, I step on Lego sets every day. It drives me crazy.
Been there, done that.
Cool. So,
Just things like that in general, going out for a coffee every day and spending $5-6, you'd be amazed at how much money you could actually save up a month just on little things like that. If you spend $5-6 a day on one cup of coffee, you'd have about $300 a month right there, which could actually go towards something like an index universal life insurance policy, where you're getting long-term care, you're getting your cash value, and you're getting your protection, amongst other things, and your retirement is building. So you can have, $1 million of protection plus $1 million of cash value by the time you're 65 to 70, waiting for you to use. You can utilize it at any time, honestly, but if you just leave it, it grows. And that to me holds more value than, the things that we go out and spend money on constantly. We just don't think about it. We're like, we know, I think we have some sense of knowing that, hey, I could be doing this, but it's a matter of habit. And we just have to explain to people there are ways to where you can still have your lifestyle, but not so much to where you're losing out on what's coming in the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah, and to piggyback on the cup of coffee, you find somebody that you're assessing what they have, and you see Starbucks and you see $600-$700 a month, and you're like, you're aware of this? Like, have you reported fraud? Like, what's going on? Like, so it's just those little things that obviously over time accumulate. So.
Yeah, I just heard a statistic over the weekend. I was doing a course on marketing, online marketing, and the average life expenses that a consumer pays to Starbucks is about $14,000 over their lifetime. So if I go into a Starbucks one time, they have a number there of $14,000 and change of what I will spend over my lifetime with Starbucks. And so for them, if they pay X amount of dollars in advertising to acquire a customer, they know from their metrics that I'm going to spend over my life 14 grand and change with them. And so what you guys are saying is, hey, that 14K, roll it into an investment, go down to the local coffee shop, get the cheaper coffee. Because, man, I'm spending $10 a cup of coffee now at at Starbucks. I'm getting a coffee and oatmeal. It's like $10 for breakfast.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot.
I would just say, and not even the whole 14. We don't want to say that, not to enjoy life and not enjoy the things that you like. But could you imagine that 14K if you just cut half of that, just roll
Oh, yeah.
over that 7,000 right there? That at least you have that money floating somewhere and creating that ability to multiply in different areas.
Yeah, especially for a cup of hot water. I mean, come on. I just found out I was beating up. Dennis is over here. He's monitoring the podcast, making sure everything's going good. By the way, if this podcast doesn't go good in terms of graphics, it's all his fault. But Dennis, I gotta apologize to you. I just found out today. I was just destroying him. He gets 5 pumps of sugar in his coffee, and I've been ordering him 2 pumps of sugar because I said you're gonna get diabetes. And I just found out that my latte that I just started ordering a week ago, my vanilla latte, is 5 pumps. I said, this coffee tastes really sweet. What do you guys do to it? Is there something in the oat milk that's sweet? They go, oh, well, traditional one's like 5 pumps of sugar. So sorry, Dennis. I apologize. I've been drinking 5 pumps of sugar while I've been getting you too. Yeah, I just started drinking coffee a lot at Starbucks recently, and this is all adding up for me, heavy, but cool. So we definitely appreciate you guys being on the podcast. What can one thing you want to tell listeners about what it is that you guys do? If you could give them your sales pitch on what it is you do, and then if you guys can give us your contact info, that'd be amazing.
One thing I would tell them is to just go ahead and sit down with your partner, whoever it is, or by yourself if you're single, and just write out and budget exactly how much you're spending. We can provide the PFSs, or you can actually get them online.
Is there a link to that we could post on the YouTube?
We have
page?
a link for our workshops, which
Okay, we'll throw that on there.
If they do want to get the PFS, we can send that through email if they choose to email us.
Okay.
But that would be the first thing I would say, we could do together. Or if they choose to do it on their own, they can definitely do it on their own as well, and give them an idea of exactly where they are financially. And then we can start from there to help them on the next step.
I think another thing as well for us is that, there's a lot of headaches, there's a lot of issues. It's kind of like math, right? There's a lot of problems, and we want to come in and be problem solvers, right? We want to be we want to solve the equation. So I just think one of the main things is that, like, we're in an all-time high in regards to debt, especially pre-pandemic was horrible. Now you think about post-pandemic, and with inflation going up and stuff like that, we just want to be able to show people, how to avoid their money going in inflation, how to make sure that they have that opportunity to have residual income, how make sure that they can know how to leverage a certain amount of income and roll that over and create generational wealth. And we kind of like to consider ourselves problem solvers in that aspect.
Awesome. Yeah, don't even get me started about, do you guys do stocks as well, or you don't do the stock market like as part of your program?
The stocks are actually tied into the index universal life insurance policies.
Okay.
It's a no risk opportunity.
Okay, I play with the stock market separate on on an app, like a Robinhood, Ameritrade type of app. But I'm very not happy this week with the Russian-Ukraine war has taken a dive. I was bragging, for the last couple months about how great my portfolio was doing, and now it sucks. Miserable. But so anyways, I'm glad you guys don't play with stocks on an individual basis. It's probably like mutual funds and whole classes of stuff with the annuities and stuff like that. Awesome. So how can people get a hold of you guys? And then we're obviously going to drop it in the comment section, but how can we get a hold of you? Do you guys want to share your website, Instagram, email, phone number, whatever you want? Give it in the video, and we'll post it in the comments as well.
You can definitely reach me on my email. That would be the best way for me.
Okay. We'll post that in the comments.
Yeah. I'm more of like a engager, so they can obviously reach out to me on email as well as over the phone. So share that.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining. I look forward to meeting with you guys another time. Tabitha, it was awesome meeting you on that rooftop networking event in the rain.
Next time in the sun.
Yeah. Or just not in the rain.
Yeah.
Not in the rain. That was miserable, but it was really nice meeting you guys. Thank you guys for joining. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for chatting. Bye, guys. Take care.